All right, what's up you guys? This is Devin with CenturyFX Studios, back with another video, and we're on our headshot series. Today we're going to be talking about the camera. Now, all of you know, a lot of people think that I'm a Canon fanboy, and I like Canon, but I use other cameras. For example, I'm using a Panasonic G7 to record this right now, and we're using the Canon 80D for B-roll. I know another Canon camera. But I am using the Canon 5D Mark II for headshots. You might be saying, Devin, that's like a 13, 14-year-old camera, maybe even 15 years old. I haven't done the math, but I think it came out in what, 2008, 2007, somewhere around there. But 21 megapixels, full frame camera. It has some decent dynamic range, decent low light ability, but when you're doing headshots, you create the entire scene. You create what is that headshot. So if you need more light to compensate for a low ISO value, to give you a lower ISO value, then you bring the extra light. If you need a lens, you might want to get a better lens to let in more light if you're getting noise in your shots. But sharpness shouldn't be a problem in most headshots. And the reason why I say that is because most headshots I take are usually at f8, f11. Now you can shoot them at 2.8, may or not want to go to 1.8 if you're like outside or something like that. But as far as the camera is concerned, the camera is not the biggest deal because people won't know the differences in the cameras that you use. The main thing is the lens. That's why you really can't get away with a lot of headshots with phones unless you get the bigger phones that cost upwards because they have two lenses in them. One for depth of field, maybe a 50mm equivalent for full frame, and it's a little bit more closer than that for the crop frame cell phone. But most of the time you want to go with the camera that you have full control over. Manual settings and things of that nature because you can control all kinds of things. You can make it look different. You can go outside and use it and not have to worry about compensating for light, and you can shoot raw. You can do all you want to with that picture in post, whereas the cell phone doesn't give you that option. As a matter of fact, when you zoom in on a cell phone that doesn't have another lens, you're using digital zoom, which means you're eating up your image quality just to zoom. And then the next thing you need to understand is that the camera itself is designed to do the job. A real camera, DSLR or mirrorless camera, whatever you're using, it's designed to do the job. As long as you know exactly what you're doing with your camera, you can get away with a lot of good headshots. Make sure you have a nice focal distance of about 70 and up. Maybe not 200 because it's going to dictate how much space you have in your room, house, basement, wherever you're doing, outside, inside. It's going to dictate a lot. But you really need some kind of telephoto in on your camera lens to give you the right proportions of the person that you're taking pictures of. And that's pretty much it with the camera. The camera is not the biggest of all deals. You can do like, high megapixels if you want to. You can do low megapixels if you want to. But most mainstream cameras, as long as it doesn't have like 1 megapixel or 5 or 8, it's going to be good enough. You have to understand the end goal of your pictures to know exactly where they're going to go and whether or not you want to crop or do anything extra with them to see if your camera is best for you. Also, your budget is going to make a huge difference in what camera you buy. At the end of the day, guys, it doesn't really matter what camera you have as long as you know how to control it, know how to get a focal distance that works for your subject, like 70 and up, and be able to control your outcome. Knowing exactly where this picture is going to go, knowing exactly what kind of backdrop you have versus what kind of clothing you have versus what kind of white balancing you have, all these little details, making sure the tones are right, making sure all these things are accurate, and making sure that you appeal to your audience is way more important than having the biggest, baddest camera in the world. But at the end of the day, you do want to have a camera that you can control. Now, this camera is a 5D Mark II. What is it? $400, $500 used on KEH. It did weddings back in the day. And I'm not talking about like 100 years back in the day. I'm talking about what, 10 years ago? This camera was doing weddings and stuff like that, and all of a sudden it's bad? No. This camera is amazing for what it does, for the price it is, and you can get a better lens that gives you that focal distance that you need to get great headshots. Now, I can go on and on about the importance of different things with headshots, but I want to stop right here because we're just talking about the camera today. The best camera you have is the one you have with you. And as long as you have a great focal distance to make your person look real, then you have a camera good enough for headshots. I'm Devin with CenturyFX Studios. Thanks for watching this video. I'm going to come out with more videos on headshots and what you should use, what you should have, why you should have it. Stay tuned for the next video. Patreon links in the description. Affiliate links in the description so we can keep doing what we're doing. And I'm out. See you in the next video.